Welcome to the most exciting news for movie and TV fans. Here's what's in store for you this time. A new Jump Street movie. House of the Dragon features a battle unlike any other. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is turning out to be much tougher than expected. And the runtime for Brand New Day has been revealed. And it's going to be the longest Spider-Man movie yet. All this and much more, now in the KinoCheck news. The Jump Street universe is expanding. 24 Jump Street is already in the works. Original cast members Jonah Hill, Channing Tatum, and Ice Cube are reportedly in talks to return.
Welcome back, dum-dum.
One thing is strange though, the title of the action comedy. The new movie is the third installment in the franchise, but the two predecessors are called 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street. So where on earth is 23 Jump Street? It's likely a self-aware joke. The film series about undercover cops Morton Schmidt and Greg Janko often pokes fun at itself. This is also evident in producer Neil H. Mortz's social media post. It shows the film's script, which reads, 24 Jump Street, it took so long to make, we had to skip one. The humorous post likely also refers to a previously planned sequel of a somewhat different kind. Originally, the third movie was going to be a crossover with Men in Black. However, that idea was never realized. All the more reason for fans to look forward to 24 Jump Street. And who knows, maybe we'll still run into an alien from Men in Black in the sequel after all. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is considered one of the big upcoming hits of the summer, and now it appears that the nearly 3-hour action epic could be surprisingly hard-edged. That's because The Odyssey has reportedly earned an R rating. This means that viewers under the age of 17 may only see the movie if accompanied by a parent or adult guardian. For an expensive summer blockbuster like The Odyssey, this is rather unusual. After all, the movie cost $250 million and is intended to appeal to as wide an audience as possible. This is made more difficult by an R rating. But what's the reason for the rating? It's likely that things get much more brutal here than in Christopher Nolan's previous action blockbusters, which is entirely consistent with the source material. Homer's ancient epic is, after all, a rather violent affair. Just how intense Odysseus' journey will be on the big screen is something we'll soon find out. The movie opens in theaters on July 17th. This movie packs a punch. In Whale Fall, a diver must fight for his life after being swallowed by a massive whale. The trailer is already quite unsettling, and has sparked plenty of comments. We'll find out how it all plays out in a few months in theaters. Whale Fall will be released on October 16th. Things get really cute in Scooby-Doo Origins. The new Netflix series doesn't kick off until next year, but now there's at least a teaser, and the community is already eagerly discussing the reboot of the iconic mystery franchise. We're excited to find out what the series will bring, aside from its adorable title character. You can find more captivating trailers and interesting news in our free KinoCheck app. Simply download it and stay up to date at all times. The third season of House of the Dragon is just around the corner, and there's already something to look forward to. The very first episode is expected to be a true spectacle. That's because it looks like we're in for a battle of epic proportions, the so-called Battle of the Gullet. In the fantasy world of Game of Thrones, it's one of the bloodiest naval battles in history. Showrunner Ryan Condal had this to say: "These sequences are unlike anything that's ever been done on television before." Now, that sounds like a bold claim. However, the creators of House of the Dragon have some impressive figures to back it up. At South by Southwest London, there was talk of 15,000 extras, 3,500 props, and 25 tons of propane. A massive undertaking. On top of that, 23 stunt performers went up in flames in a single shot, which, according to the creators, set a new world record. House of the Dragon takes place roughly 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones. The story centers on the bloody civil war within House Targaryen. And the big day is coming soon. Season 3 premieres on HBO on June 21st. A fourth and final season is expected in 2028. Are you already looking forward to the new episodes? We'd love to hear your thoughts. The third installment of 28 Years Later is still in the works. Director Danny Boyle has confirmed it. For fans of the horror series, that should come as a huge relief. After all, its predecessor, The Bone Temple, was a box office flop.
We've got off on the wrong foot.
And there were delays, for which Boyle has now provided an explanation. Speaking to Joe Blow, he said, "We ran out of time because it's set in an area of Britain where you can only film at certain times of the year." According to Boyle, however, production on the third movie is expected to start next year. In the United States, the very first installment of the horror saga 28 years later hit theaters in 2003. The premise? A contagious virus is released in England. With devastating consequences, the infected develop a homicidal rage. Before long, apocalyptic conditions prevail. Back then, Cillian Murphy played the lead role, and he's reportedly set to return for the third installment of 28 years later. So fans of the original have even more reason to be excited. Spider-Man Brand New Day has set a new record. As has now been revealed, the film has a runtime of 150 minutes. This makes the new big screen adventure starring Tom Holland the longest Spider-Man movie of all time. However, only by a hair's breadth. Its predecessor, No Way Home, previously held the record at 148 minutes. Within the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well, the runtime of Brand New Day stands out. Only 3 movies have a longer runtime. Avengers Endgame at 181 minutes, Black Panther Wakanda Forever at 161 minutes, and Eternals at 157 minutes. Meanwhile, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is about the same length as Brand New Day. So, the new Spidey film clearly takes its time to unfold its story. But what does this latest adventure have in store for us? In Brand New Day, a new chapter begins in the life of Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man. That's because people have forgotten that he exists, even those that were once particularly close to him. So it'll be interesting to see how he deals with this. One thing's for sure, we'll be seeing a few familiar faces again, including Peter's former girlfriend MJ, the anti-hero Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, and Avengers member Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk. Luckily, Brand New Day opens in theaters soon. July 31st is the big day. Evil Dead fans have something to look forward to. The next movie in the horror franchise, Evil Dead Burn, is set to hit theaters on July 10th, and another installment is already taking shape. Sony Pictures has now announced that filming for Evil Dead Wrath has wrapped, with a short original clip. In keeping with the gory franchise, a clapboard sinks into a bubbling crimson liquid. What exactly Evil Dead Wrath will be about remains to be seen. However, the movie is expected to tell a standalone story featuring new characters. Among the lead actors is Charlotte Hope. Once again, the story will likely revolve around the Book of the Dead. The ominous book already played a central role in the first film, The Evil Dead. 45 years have passed since then, yet the franchise simply refuses to end. Evil Dead Wrath will be the 7th movie in the series, with the theatrical release currently planned for 2028.
Groovy.
This is unfortunate news for Helldivers. According to reports, Jason Momoa has dropped out of the video game adaptation. The search for a new lead actor is now in full swing. Justin Lin remains on board as director. The filmmaker is best known for the Fast and Furious franchise. Details about the plot are currently being kept under wraps. In the dystopian video game on which the film is based, the Helldivers are a military special forces unit sent on intergalactic missions. The satirical undertone is reminiscent of the science fiction classic Starship Troopers. Despite Jason Momoa's departure, the release date for Helldivers is still set. The movie is scheduled to hit theaters on November 10th, 2027. What do you think about Momoa no longer being attached to the project? And who should take over the lead role instead? Feel free to share your thoughts with us. A setback for Hannibal. Netflix has had plans for this historical epic starring Denzel Washington for quite some time. Filming was supposed to begin this year in Italy, but production has now been put on pause. The reason appears to be unsolved budget issues. It remains to be seen how things will proceed from here. The good news, however, is that the filmmakers are still interested in moving forward with the project. In the epic about the famous military general of antiquity, Washington will play the title role of Hannibal. Antoine Fuqua, who has worked with Washington on several occasions, is set to direct. Among their collaborations is the thriller Training Day, which earned the Hollywood star the Academy Award for Best Actor. The screenplay is penned by John Logan. The writer is well versed in ancient history. After all, He also contributed to the script of the hit movie Gladiator. So the Hannibal movie certainly isn't lacking in top-notch talent. We can only hope that it'll ultimately be brought to the screen. There are already some initial reactions to Toy Story 5, and they're overwhelmingly positive. Following the movie's premiere in Los Angeles, early reviews began appearing on social media. And what's clear is that critics consider this sequel another highlight of the beloved franchise. The new big-screen adventure starring Woody and Buzz Lightyear is being described as masterful and even perfect. Drew Taylor of The Wrap, for example, says, "Toy Story 5 is an absolute home run. Surprising, heartfelt, dynamic, and so fun. What stands out repeatedly is the film's successful humor and just how incredibly moving it is." Andrew J. Salazar of Discussing Film is particularly touched. The critic writes, "I have seen Toy Story 5 twice now and somehow cried harder the second time. In this movie, the brave toy heroes are up against a frog-like tablet called Lily Pad. Soon, we'll find out how Woody, Buzz, and the others handle this new competition in the children's room." In the US, Toy Story 5 is scheduled to be theatrically released on June 19th. We'll then discover whether the film lives up to its rave reviews.
It's been too long, cowboy.
Which news story did you like best this time? Was there anything you didn't see coming? We're curious to hear your thoughts and would greatly appreciate a like on this video. Thanks for your support and see you next time. Your KinoCheck team. And in case you missed it, here's more news that will pique your interest. The new Rambo movie is highly anticipated, and now the release date has been set. The prequel hits theaters on June 4th, 2027. And it's a highly competitive release window. A week earlier, Star Wars Starfighter starring Ryan Gosling premieres, one of the biggest blockbusters of the year. 2 weeks after Rambo, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse hits theaters. So Rambo is surrounded by stiff competition. But this also shows that the film studio Lionsgate clearly has great confidence in the action hero. The Rambo prequel takes place before the events of the original 1982 film. The origin story is intended to show how John Rambo became the man we knew from the previous films. The famous action hero is portrayed by Noah Centineo, who is thus following in the footsteps of Sylvester Stallone. David Harbour plays Major Troutman, a character also familiar from earlier Rambo films. A prominent new addition was recently announced in the form of James Franco. The Hollywood star is set to take on a small role in John Rambo. And Stallone, this time he's involved behind the scenes as an executive producer. The Superman sequel Man of Tomorrow is gradually taking shape, and now there's a first set photo of Lex Luthor. The image shows Superman's arch-enemy in his iconic war suit. Director James Gunn is saying the film is relying on practical effects. In other words, nothing about the suit appears to be computer-generated. For Luthor actor Nicholas Hoult, this doesn't seem to be a problem. According to Gunn, he's able to move incredibly well in the suit. In addition to Lex Luthor, Man of Tomorrow will feature another major villain, Brainiac, played by German actor Lars Eidinger. James Gunn recently explained, "Brainiac is what happens when intelligence loses all connection to humanity." The director also revealed that the story of Man of Tomorrow takes place about 2 years after the events of his first Superman movie from 2025. Whether Superman can prevail against Lex Luthor and Brainiac will be revealed next year. Man of Tomorrow hits theaters on July 9th, 2027, and we can hardly wait. Are you excited too? We're looking forward to reading your comments. Backrooms is causing a sensation at the box office, so a second part is likely only a matter of time. Industry outlet Deadline now reports that director Kane Parsons is already looking for a screenwriter for the sequel. Parsons has already spoken several times about potential sequels to his horror hit. According to the director, the first movie is just the beginning of many narrative stages. The film Backrooms is based on his YouTube web series of the same name. The current film adaptation tells a story of a furniture salesman who discovers a portal to another dimension in the basement of his showroom. The horror film was an instant hit at the box office. Backrooms cost just $10 million to make and opened with a global box office of $118 million, a record-breaking debut for film studio A24 and for Kane Parsons. At the age of 20, He's the youngest director to have a movie open at #1 on the box office charts. We're excited to see how this success story continues.